Well, hello and welcome to Series 2, Episode 2, get the little Land Rover reference there, of the Utopia Restoration Podcast. It's been a pretty hectic year since we started the podcast, back with the first episode of Joe, and I wanted Series 2 to start with that, but there were some delays on some things, so it started with Exmoor Trim, which was a fantastic one, so make sure you go back and listen to that. But we now have Joe and I talking about what's happened in our garages, what's happened in our car lives, and some future plans for the summer. You may have seen on Instagram and on YouTube that we now have a physical location. Utopia is real and it is now a place you can visit. So we're just based outside of Hartley Whitney. At the moment we're appointment only. But yeah, drop me a message if you want to come down and see our automobilia, our stock, our cars. And because of that, that's the things that have been delayed and sort of the things that didn't get going. But it's been a fantastic time. And this podcast did happen a little while ago and some things got in the way of it. So the Land Rover and the Series 3 that we talk about have sold, but we do have two 2009 silver Defender 110s coming into stock, and a new project which will be revealed very soon. So this is going live on the Jubilee weekend. There'll be a YouTube out very shortly about what our new project is. But yeah, we're going to try and make this much more regular with Joe, and we're going to keep having guests on. So we're going to have some interesting people throughout this season and keep it going and try and keep it more regular for you. So yeah, I'll stop talking and I'll continue talking in a different format. Hope you enjoy this one and let's jump in. Hello and welcome to Series 2, Episode 2 on the Utopia Restorations Podcast. It doesn't really make sense because Series 1 was Exmoor Trim, which was meant to be Episode 2, but we are now in this space and I was waiting ages to get this space, so it was meant to be in January. I went to Exmoor Trim in October and recorded that one, so that was meant to be released around now, when we were meant to move into this in January, but as we all know, with Brexit and such, it's been impossible to get building things. So yeah, we're now in Utopia. We now have a physical location. Come visit us for coffee, see the cool cars, the Land Rover, the Porsche's just there, which you can't see, which is still up for grabs. We've got all automobilia for sale. We've got random things that I'm working on, like the Boltaco, and then future projects for sale, like the Valacet. We also now do consignment selling, so we've got a blue Land Rover Series 3 coming in on Monday, which is a very cool one, which I quite like, and a Suzuki GS 250 Cafe Racer 1981, which is a very cool one. So quite a cool early bike for people. And we try to be reasonably priced, and you can come have a coffee, look at the cars. Don't have to buy them if you don't want to. Chat shit about cars and look at automobilia and do whatever. I'm pretty much always here. We're always up for a chat, which generally means getting no work done. But yeah, so this is now the new location.
So I get a cold line.
Do you need to talk about cars? Are your family members bored of you talking about cars and you need someone to come chat to? We're available just outside of Hartley Whitney.
I'm lonely.
No, well, it is just me in the workshop, so yeah, Joe. I do get lonely. No, Joe, we've got loads of other neighbours and people come around, so it's quite good. We get to see people. I'm not always lonely, but if you do want to come down, just drop me a message and then swing by. You never know, if you're interesting enough, you may get on the podcast. So we're moving to a format of Joe and I are just going to chat about cars once a week, hopefully, if we can actually get our calendars to align.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have guests. So this is Episode 2. Episode 3 is with Terry Hayward from Hayward Revive, which is awesome. Went to go see them on holiday. There's some very cool Land Rovers, which I'm very jealous of, and are immaculate. There was a Series 2, well, you find out about next week, and there's videos on YouTube and stuff, but spoilers, there's a Series 2 with power steering, which was servo steered, so not even electric pump. So then meant you could dry steer a Series 2 with giant BF Goodrich tyres on, which got a video of because I didn't think anyone was going to believe me. I don't really believe me because it was wild. Yeah, let's see some of his very cool ones. But I think we last spoke on the podcast on Series Episode 1, didn't we?
Ages ago.
So I have no idea when that was. It was in a pandemic, wasn't it?
Yeah, must have been.
So,
ages ago.
Yeah, but we're now in 2022. Must have been 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Because it started last year. Who knows what years are? The last 2 years have been a blur. So I think first and foremost we need an update on cars, don't we? So I think we were talking about you doing silly things to your cars last time. Or cars, something, sorry. Yeah, what have you done to the MX-5 to make it more of a weapon?
It's on big wheels and tyres. It's on some fancy coilovers.
Fancy coilovers? You got a name drop. You can't just say fancy ones.
It's got Ohlins.
Yeah, you spend the money on Ohlins. You need to say you spend Ohlins. Or is that like a I spent silly money on Olin, so I'm not going to mention that.
Just some nice colours. But yeah, they're great. They're amazing. Yeah, totally transformed.
You got your short shifter as well now.
Yeah, CAE short shifter. It's good. And then just iron up brakes.
You've been ironing up brakes for a while, though, haven't you?
Yeah. Depends what ones.
Well, so what were you looking at? You were looking at Willerwoods.
Yeah, either Wilwoods, which is sort of the cheap option.
And then what else were you looking at?
APs.
Yeah.
Which are,
and there was another kit that you were looking at as well, weren't you? But
there's a German company that was StockTex, which is sort of nice halfway house, but they've taken them off their website.
They heard that you were looking at importing them, weren't you? That's why in banned.
See ya. But yeah, it's just whether I want to fork out for APs. What I use it for.
What we were saying initially, you may go just get some EBC all round.
I could just do pads and braided lines.
Just for the moment. Because
that's the thing. What I use it for.
Yeah, just a bit of an upgrade. Because I suppose how many miles have you done in it now?
30.
30?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
That's a bit.
How long have you done it for?
No more than 2 years.
Yeah, because you got the MX-5 at the same time I got the Land Rover.
A little bit after you got that. Yeah. June, July.
Because you almost brought a mountain bike, which would have been silly.
That's a lot.
Yeah, ridiculous. Very glad you didn't.
Yeah. That just spiraled there, didn't it?
Will's got a silly car, I almost get a silly car.
I might buy myself a bike, I'll buy myself a Mark III. It just went on and on.
Yeah, it spiraled a little bit, didn't it?
But yeah, it's just working out. Whether I want to fork out for APs.
Yeah.
Because that'd be amazing.
I reckon because we'll get onto it in a minute, won't we? But for some of the summer plans, I reckon you do need slightly upgraded brakes.
Yeah,
I get you
totally.
going to do more. So calipers and discs. I reckon, get a set of EBCs. So what's that going to be? A full set around is like of the premium stuff.
I don't know if they do them.
Try it, have a look, because most of the stuff, they've even got Range Rover stuff, so I've been looking at it. But
pads and braid lines will make a load of difference.
Yeah.
For what I use it for, as a daily, and then when I have something else.
Something else?
Cool. And then it gets different.
Well, the funny conversation earlier of, Joe's, you've been looking at getting a second car for a while because MX-5s are really practical and they've got loads of boot room, especially when your hobby's climbing, particularly now outdoor climbing and camping, which requires no equipment, no harnesses, no ropes, and the MX-5's got loads of room. And you've got a girlfriend, so whereas before the kit could go on a passenger seat, it's now a problem, isn't it?
She's got a camper van.
Right, so Joe's is now a garage queen, which is going up in a camper van. But what's mainly spurred you on in recent weeks to get a proper second car?
Well, it's just space. It's space.
What did you buy that now means that you've got your boulder mats?
Oh, those. Yeah.
So you impulse bought some boulder mats.
No.
So it was a really thought out decision, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just peer pressured myself.
Right. When you went climbing, you didn't hire some, then you bought some. Yeah.
Instant satisfaction.
Right. Yeah. So that's what we call an impulse purchase, Joe. So you impulse purchase some boulder mats. Impulse purchase boulder mats.
And they're just mattresses.
And they're massive because, as we discussed before, you were talking about a mini clubman, weren't you?
Yeah.
Because you were talking about boulder mats for a while.
Yeah.
You were saying you reckon you could get boulder mats in the back of a mini clubman.
I reckon I could.
Do you still?
Yeah, to be fair, they were my sisters.
If you remove the rear seats of the mini clubman, and then you turn it into a two-seater mini clubman.
Yeah, exactly. That would be the issue.
And then that's not going to be practical when you need another one.
Yeah, so it's not working out. Something big enough but fun enough.
Yeah. So what have you been looking at?
I know it's not very big, but one series, not the latest generation, the one before that. So E80E2s?
Sounds about right. What sort of year? It's like
2008, 2009ish.
Yeah, quite respectful.
Last thing actually aspirated, so 130.
Yeah, got sat-nav systems, but don't have silly infotainment systems that are going to break.
Yeah.
Like, fairly straightforward.
Heated seats, Xenons, but it's 260 horse, inline six, so it'd move, but just, you can get it with 5 bills as well.
Yeah.
So vaguely practical. Yeah, we'll see.
But and you're talking about 3 Series Tourings?
3 Series Tourings.
Slightly cooler.
Yeah. Some Type R's.
Some Subarus were coming in?
Yeah, but I don't know if they interest me enough.
Yeah, and they are still, although there's some of them are getting to the age where they're more like, they're cooler, as in you've got to want to have one.
Yeah.
Especially the earlier ones.
Yeah, I don't know how
still have quite a bit of image, don't they? Like,
yeah.
You can get the Subaru in Praxair Estates, though, can't you? There's like hatchback ones.
And Legacies and Outbacks, which they're all quite cool.
Yeah. Which I quite think the estate ones, a lot of people don't necessarily get them, do they? So they're not like as...
They're not that fast. They're 200 something horsepower.
Yeah, but you don't necessarily it will still be quick enough, won't it?
Yeah.
You won't need more of a wagon now, don't you?
Yeah.
A speed wagon.
So I can just put miles on. And the idea is I can put miles on that, not need on the 5, and then buy my stuff that.
Yeah.
Not worry about
Which works out.
having AP brakes
And
daily
then-
driving.
And then realise, oh, well, we've been driving the e-touring for quite a while. Maybe I'll do some brakes on that, and then you have a look and you go, oh, look. Yeah, I don't know, Bentley brakes also fit it because it's that age, and I can get some Bentley wheels, and then that becomes the project car.
Yeah, simple.
That.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Just put exhaust on it, maybe wheels and tyres, and that's it.
Yeah. I was saying that you should get, was it Porsche Cayenne? Why not? We can have matching. The overlanding Range Rover and the overlanding Porsche Cayenne.
Just don't want a money pit.
They're not money pits. Everyone says this. They're not. If you
Do we want to go through what you spent?
So this then brings us on to the next one. Since I think we last spoke, I had the Fiesta. I put a silly exhaust on it, which was very cool. But the exhaust wasn't quite made for that engine, and I do a lot of motorway miles.
It was definitely.
So it droned. I've got rally headsets in it.
I actually can't believe it.
So after that, I decided I needed a motorway mile car, and being a Land Rover fan, I then went and bought the first TDV8 Range Rover. So bought that. Then saw the bills and then realised when am I going to be driving. Got 2 Land Rovers when I'm going to be driving Fiesta. So Fiesta got taken apart and then sold, which I don't know if the person who bought it's listening to this. I don't presume so. I don't know if it's still alive. So because
why? An MOT check.
Yeah, I've tried the reg check and it says this reg does not exist. And I'm like, well, it did because it was a car. So I don't know. I don't know enough about it. Yeah. So I'm hoping it's gone onto a private place.
Surely.
And it's still around.
Surely.
The person who owns it, I have on Facebook, but they don't post pictures about the car. So I hope it's still out there. I don't want to know if it's not, but I love the Fiesta. So Fiesta's gone. Got the Range Rover. We were down in Devon a month into it. Came around a corner and put my foot down and went into limp mode and a big cloud of smoke. And the best and worst thing that happened to Range Rover, the turbos went. Managed to get those redone because it was scrap it and get another Range Rover, or better the devil you know. And touch wood, since it's been fine. Apart from, as I said, since it's been fine. Apart from people like, yeah, but you did get new rear tyres for it. You did get the wheel alignment. Have had to get a front new left strut, and service it and stuff. But it's not been dreadful. If you look at it through rose-tinted glasses, it's pretty good. If you look at it through an accountancy point of view, I'm not going to be able to get a mortgage, but
bought it for this. Also spent the same amount.
But like we were saying, so I bought it on. Oh, actually, I'm not. For official insurance terms, I don't know the mileage I bought it on. But it was last MOT'd it because I said I'd do about 10k a year. Last month I did 2k miles, so we're not quite hitting that.
That's not bad.
But it was MOT'd, so I don't know what mileage I brought it on. It was MOT'd. It was MOT'd at 150.
It starts making you check.
It was MOT'd at 150, and this month I just hit 159. It was MOT'd in November.
Really?
What? Well, because you think this week we went to St David's in Wales. I went to Exmoor Trimmer back in the day, and we went to Suffolk and back. That was this week. So this week I've already done almost 600 miles.
Nice.
So and now I commute. So that also adds. Yeah, so it's racking up. But I'm gonna drive it till it dies. And then some of you may see on Instagram, the Kaiser did a rally Baja spec Range Rover.
Good.
Which was a brand new one, like full carbon tubbed, very cool design. And I've decided when it dies, that's what's going to happen to it. I don't know if it would work because it's so heavy, even if you strip everything. But I'll give it my damn best shot. So we've got the Range Rover. It's got a roof rack. I've put on mud flaps. We've got more lights. I already had ATs on the roof rack. I need to redo the ladder and weld it. Looking at getting some fabricated rock sliders and under trays. Nice. They do exist, but they are ridiculously expensive.
Okay.
As in $1,000 for rock sliders and $1,000 for under trays, which is silly considering you can get like Defender ones for 110 quid. So that's going to stay as. And then also got the Porsche in November, which is currently up for sale, which was bought as a project and is being sold for the summer. And then we've got some other projects coming in, which may be Porsches, maybe Land Rovers, maybe other old British stuff, maybe some buttons.
Sweet.
But TBD on those. But yeah, I've been loving the Porsche. So rather, but you guys can't see it on the camera. Yeah, it's been very cool. And then the series has been sat a bit dormant, but no, I can't tell you about it yet. Not at this official time. Maybe when the podcast comes out, we'll know.
But you're going to have to go to YouTube to find out about that. Something's happened with it. It's staying, it's not going anywhere. But yeah, I can't tell you yet. It's not official, yeah. You'll have to go to our YouTube and subscribe to that. We love it. Shameless plug-in, yeah. Yeah, so it should be quite fun. And we'll see what happens. Oh, and we've got the Portaca. The Portaca is mine, so you're going to get out riding and learning on that. I've got some more motorbike related stuff that's coming in cool forms of clothing, maybe some parts, maybe some cool things coming this summer. So we'll see on that. Yeah, that's the car update. And then in terms of our update, we're planning a road trip this summer, aren't we? Which is where your breaks may come in.
Yeah, I want to go back to Anglesey and do track day.
Yeah, because we did last year. What did we do road trip wise? Oh no, was that the year before? I honestly, no, it can't have been because I haven't had the road trip.
Yeah, it was all the same year.
Lake District was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. Fiesta.
Oh, that was in May, wasn't it?
Right, April, May.
Yeah, because it was then raining. And I had to carry everyone around because you got an MX-5, Tom's got an MX-5 Model 1. And we were like, oh, let's go for dinner. Dinner's not a walking distance because it's the Lake District.
Tom went keen on walking.
Yeah, it was an hour and a half. And yeah, so I, the only person with 5 seats, had to truck everyone around. So yeah, and then that went that. And then we went to Anglesey as well, didn't we, later on, which was November time. Which we had the fabulous idea. So of course I live near Bracknell at the moment now. You live in Essex.
Yeah.
Joe drove over to me. We then thought, let's go to Baffle House, because Baffle House is very cool in Wales. We did an interview with Ollie on season 1. They've had really cool changes, and it's really cool to see how they've changed. So we're like, let's go down there. And then Google Maps says, what did Google Maps say? It said it was long, but it said it was 4 hours from the bottom of Wales to the top of Wales. 3 Wales. So went to Baffle House, lovely coffee, didn't we? Then what roads did we go and do?
I can't remember. But there was no usual carriageways.
No, what were the roads? The Evo ones in Brecon. That really cool hairpin.
Like Mountain Pass or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
The ones there's loads of YouTube videos of people hairing up them at silly speeds.
Famous hairpin that Evo shot loads of stuff on, and yeah.
So we drove up those, got some cool shots of your car. I went in a little bit afraid. Well, not really, just parked up a Verge, but camera for the Range Rover that time. Really cool roads, really fun to drive. Really more fun in your car.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so then we drove from Baffle House for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, didn't we? And then we were like, let's get some lunch. So stopped and got some lunch, but there was no signal or anything like that. So we drove 2 hours to Baffle House, driven for another 2 hours, so we were already at 4.
Thinking we were like in mid-Wales at this point.
Yeah, having some lunch. Finally, internet worked. We just left Brecon Beacon, so if you know Wales.
No, we were like, we're in line with Birmingham still.
Yeah, we were right at the bottom. We weren't even near, like, just past Cafe the Machine. And that was 2 o'clock, and then went on Google Maps and same again, and we're like, oh, it's only 3 hours to Anglesey. On the A road, we're like, nice, cushy dual carriageways. It was just the main A road, I don't know if you've driven a lot in Wales, it's just like a normal road.
Yeah.
And Google Maps stayed at 3 hours for at least 2.
It's mental.
Because we left at 1 o'clock, and we got to Anglesey in the pitch black, down this house, down a lane, down a track, with a key box around the back at 7 p.m, didn't we? And we were a bit like, it was a good hour and a half, no one talked on the radio.
Like absolutely shattered. It was horrendous weather, and there's mad locals doing silly stuff on the roads, and it was just chaos.
Yeah, that got quite grueling towards the end. And you're sort of like, we're getting closer. And you're like, into Anglesey, and it's still like another 20 minutes, and you had to find the fucking place for the directions. But that was quite cool. And then, because of that, we went and saw, what was it, Anglesey Motor Club?
I don't know, it was some like rally.
Yeah, it was a rally track day on Anglesey Circuit, which was very cool.
It's mad.
There's some really cool cars. And what did they have there? They had a 924 rally car, which was one of the things that pushed me over the edge to buy the 924.
Yeah.
So, which brings us back to what's the plan for this year? We're going to go back to Anglesey, take a slightly different route. I think we're going to go to Cafe the Machine on the way up for some breakfast or lunch, and then go into Wales around to the Wrexham Way. Maybe go around some Snowdonia roads.
Yeah, that could be good.
And yeah, do those, some still fun roads, but whilst it's light, hopefully, not in the pitch black. And then line it up with a track day, because you've been building your track weapon. That's not getting used yet.
No.
So
it'd be cool. I want to use it on track before I don't even see the engine.
Yeah.
To get nice baseline.
Yeah, because the BBR kits coming out soon, aren't they? Or are they?
They do a BBR 200, so that's 200 brake with cams and exhaust and different map and stuff like that. So that's the plan. And then I hope they do a ITB kit.
Yeah, ITB's been very cool on it.
But they haven't yet. I've only seen one company, that German company I was talking about, do it. That's for a proper race car. But it will trickle down, I hope.
Yes, that'll be very fun. So yeah, we're doing that in your MS5, hopefully with Tom's as well. And then I don't know what car I'm going to have for the summer. I was showing Joe a few options earlier. There may be another Porsche, maybe some four-wheel drive Subarus. I'm not really sure. Or I may go in a Range Rover support car and just steal other people's cars because you've got a fun fast car.
It'd be cool. All three of us out on track.
But then I was, like you were saying, 944. Would I want to drive that 6 hours? So do I just put it on a trailer? But then if we go for some fun roads, trailering it up isn't going to be as fun. So we'll see. We'll see on that one. That's TBD, isn't it? So, but yeah, we've got some very fun. We've got some very fun roads planned, and some very fun routes. So that should be a cool one. And hopefully do an actual YouTube on that. Because most times I try to, but just end up forgetting because it's too much fun. This time I'll just walk around with the camera. But like we are filming it. And of course we're going to Anglesey. Where are we going to have to go to, Joe?
Black Rock Sand?
Absolutely.
Good guess.
Yeah. See if Joe can be as much as Joe. Honestly, last time we did it, I was like, we weren't, of course, there's no this, we didn't do this because it's a car park.
It was just car parking space, weren't we?
But there were some big four-wheel turns, like where mine was going, where you tried to do yours and there was like, apart from when it skidded, there was no sand marks. I mean, I just turned mine in the sand and it's like trenches. I, of course, hadn't had the car long then, but I now have discovered I still have a traction controller.
You did?
Yeah.
So done. Yeah.
So if I took it off, but admittedly it was like, when doing tight circular turns, it was just bizarre, wasn't it? Even you were saying when you were driving it, like,
even roundabouts,
the whole thing just
so weird. Like, getting out of mine where it just doesn't do that.
Yeah, it's completely planted, isn't it? Like, same with the Porsche, when you go to corners, you can feel it like sticking it compared to just being booted around, as it's like turning on
total opposites.
But yeah, I don't know. If anyone's got any suggestions what I should get for a summer car, send me a message or comment on this or whatever, because that'd be quite funny. See if there's something that I've missed that's all British. But yeah, I reckon we'll get all four of us on track. I reckon it'll be you, three of us. I was thinking 4 cars because I was going to trade her out. Yeah, you out ahead, me and whatever I've got, and then Tom at the back in his...
Tom's in the pits.
Sorry, Tom, you're not on the podcast, you can't defend yourself. Tom's in the pits. Yes, sorry guys, I forgot to bring any oil. We've just discovered. He's got to drive up from Brighton as well, that's going to be a short track. Tom, we haven't checked. Tom's going, he'll come, he'll love it. Just get berated.
Go walking.
But yeah, I reckon it'll be a fun track day. So you've got that to look forward to. And I think I'm going to buy some more cameras and get some GoPros in.
Nice.
Because I think
and it's by social mounts.
Yeah.
What else use GoPros on track?
You should be. A lot of them, you get like, I keep getting Instagram ads for wiring in your GoPros. So you've got a button so you can check that you're recording rather than doing the whole track day and then like, oh, I forgot to press record. Which is something I've never done. Certainly done that quite a few times. Like cameras on the outside of stuff, off-roading. Like I thought I clicked record, but I didn't. So that'd be an interesting one. But yeah, that's what's going on with us. Talk about a bit about other cars and other car news.
I don't know. What's
F1.
Oh, okay.
So we haven't really covered it before. Joe and I don't know. When did you get into F1?
I remember watching it as a kid, like during like the end, like Schumacher.
Yeah.
Era. So I was like 4 or 5.
That's pretty good then. Admittedly, mine was I watched Drive. I wasn't actually into F1 because I couldn't catch up on everything.
Yeah.
And then Drive to Survive came out. I watched that all 3 seasons, and now I'm actually into it. Last season,
yeah,
we watched the final together. Both hungover. I'd say traumatising for lack of a better word. Right. So to put it, make more sense. We're both Lewis Hamilton fans.
Yeah.
We're both Mercedes fans. We both like McLaren.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say. So those are like our top 2. I don't know which of you. I quite like Ferrari, but everyone's always like you should like Ferrari. So I quite like Carlos Sainz, very good driver, and like his dad, insane rally driver.
Yeah.
Have you seen some videos of his dad driving?
No.
Just scary. I think there was one I may have sent you of a Citroen, who was just driving at like 100 kilometers an hour over a jump through a corner. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, but Ferrari's always like everyone should like it because it's Ferrari.
It's nice to come back, but I'm not mad at them.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting if they get this year. I don't know, we may get some unsubscribers for this.
I'm just anti-Max.
Yeah, we don't like Max.
That's an easier way.
And we're not particularly Red Bull fans. But so one of the questions I wanted to ask you, just as a pre, see if you now leave the podcast, we'll understand. But if you want to stick around, but see, some things I wanted to ask you, right? Apart from last year was traumatising, huge errors. Someone was gifted the title. Yes, Max won more races, so should have. But let's face it,
it's not like he deserved to win the title. However, he didn't deserve to win that race.
That last race.
And that's what
bullshit.
That's what decided the title.
Yeah,
so he shouldn't have won, but he did deserve to win.
And again, this is another reason why we berate Tom. I get we had a big night out the night before. We were on the edge of our seat. We were all watching it. People that weren't into F1 were watching it, and we look across, and Tom was literally like, "This is not great." And we were like, "Yeah." I didn't cry at the end of the race, but I did go to the toilet and sob.
You were in the shower, it's fine. You're allowed to cry in there.
You are allowed to cry in the shower, as it doesn't count because there's really water. But yeah, like most intense race, and Tom's just there having a nap. But yeah, so last season, let's not talk about that because traumatising.
Still over it.
New season, right? What do you think of the new regs? The ones that are meant to be, the cars are slightly slower. You're meant to get close to wheel racing. There's a lot of caps. There's a lot of heavier regulations. But cars have still ended up being a bit different.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think cars are ugly to begin with. I don't think they look as good. I think the weird high nose is just odd looking.
It's quite in the vein of Formula E cars.
Yeah, maybe.
They're looking similar to that, with sort of their more enclosed wheels. Not too much.
But then I don't think F1 cars looks that good for a while.
No, definitely not. I don't know, my view, we talked about this with other people and other F1 fans. My view is the new regs aren't in line with what F1 should be.
Okay.
Because I know that they're now improving, but the lap time some of them were doing 2 seconds a lap slower than last year.
Yeah.
And I get there's a point where it all gets too fast and people pull ahead and it's not interesting to watch. But that's not, like, it is a spectator sport, but that's not the nature of the sport, is it? Every year it should be improving and every year it should be getting better. And 2 seconds a lap slower is a Formula 2 car, isn't it? So I get the entertainment factor, and it's now owned by a media company, and you need to get people.
Well, that's it, isn't it? There's two sides of it. It's the commercialisation of F1, and it's the sport of F1.
Yeah,
it's that balance and act.
And also, for me, the new regs were brought in to destroy Mercedes because they've 8 years on a track.
Bold.
I'm putting it out there. They were brought in not to destroy them, but they were brought in to level the playing field, weren't they?
Yeah.
To make it close to wheel racing and stuff like that, which it has sort of done. There's more stuff apart from touching this. Seems to be last has touched on it a lot. The coverage is rubbish at the moment. Like, overtakes will be happening, and you're watching someone just go around a corner in P14 quite happily.
But there's that sort of polishing period, like adjustment period.
Yeah.
So it will revert back to the top teams being the top teams, and
yeah. But the whole thing of, like, the cars are meant to be slower, aren't they? They've got bigger wheels. They've got things like that. For me, that's not the sport. The sport is going top whack and going top whack. Like, the cars should be going faster this year than last year.
Totally.
And I get budget caps, I get that. But as in, if a team is better, a team is better. I don't think same again, they want to do it for more competitiveness. But that is the sport, isn't it? Like, you then need to catch up. So I think it'll be an interesting one to see. Do you have any predictions for the year of winners or?
I don't know. I think Ferrari's tail off.
Yeah.
Ferrari have a good start, but I think Red Bull will catch up. I'd like to see Mercedes catch up, obviously, but who knows? Russell's quick at the moment.
Well, so that's the thing. It's like Hamilton's massively knocked, apart from I think the psychological damage of last year, as traumatising. But also, I think he's been in a really good car for quite a while now. Which you think George has always got the best from a really bad car.
Yeah.
So I think that's why George is maybe performing really well at the moment.
George is in his comfort zone.
Because he knows bad cars and he can get a good amount out of them.
Yeah.
Which is why he's doing really well. And Lewis maybe is more used to better cars, so he's maybe struggling a bit with it.
Yeah.
I just want to see just one more championship for him. 8.
Yeah, totally.
8 and done. Just make it undeniable.
You still read quite a lot online about how he's not the best and whatever else. But
he is.
I know he draws with Schumacher on titles, but everything else, he's
Don't 100% quote me on this, but I did see a stat online that out of all the races in F1 that have ever happened, Lewis has won something like 20%.
I bet, yeah. I wonder what the percentage is. Yeah, it must be up there.
Yeah, something like that, or like 10% or something. So you think, we've got to couple hundred Grand Prix.
It's got to be something simple.
Yeah. It's mental, isn't it? Which I get there's more races and stuff like that, but it's pretty undeniable, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens this season. I think it'll be an interesting one. And
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
sad start for McLaren, but McLaren sort of started to pull back a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
So interesting to see what happens for Ricciardo this year. So if he still stays down. I know Lando's signed again, but
Yeah.
maybe is this the last one for Ricciardo?
I think Ricardo will stay. Where else is he going to go? That's the reality.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Maybe will he be out of F1?
What, pushed out left one?
Well, no, but like, no, I do like Ricciardo. I do like him as a guy and a driver.
Yeah.
But it's just my thing for the sport. You think for McLaren, one driver's performing very well, but one that's been first year get a better team, and second year maybe will he get 3 years and then go look to other ones, because McLaren's got a really good junior team, don't they?
Yeah.
And McLaren's racing is quite diverse. They've got the Extreme, they've got their IndyCar, they've got they don't have a NASCAR team. No, they've got the IndyCar and the Extreme.
Didn't realise that Extreme.
Are their main ones. So they've got quite a diverse pool, don't they?
Yeah.
So very interesting to see what happens. But yeah, anything else for F1 for you?
I don't know. It's just odd stuff, isn't it? At the moment. It's always just. I don't like the whole idea of controversy at the moment. Because again, it's the live to media side of it. How that's what people are actually interested in, controversy and stuff like that, and just silly stories and races coming up. Like the FIA, the big one at the moment is FIA flagging people wearing jewellery and not wearing proper fireproof underwear.
Oh, that's why Seb had his underwear on outside.
I think that's why Lewis is wearing all the chains and all wearing 3 watches.
So have you seen he's got 2 races and then he has to, so like he can't race with his nose ring and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah. So he's going to have to take
They were saying he's always worn a necklace, and that's the big thing.
Yeah.
And they say, and that was like, what's his face? Ted, what's his name? No, it's on Sky Sports. He does Ted's notebook, and either way, he was talking about it, and he was like that. He thought that was quite direct to Lewis. It's about only him that wears jewellery.
Oh, yeah,
it's just like weird. Why have they picked up on that when the
Yeah,
FIA have got
like,
new regs to worry about, and they've picked up on that old one?
I get it for crash stuff, like don't get me wrong, having metal on you could make it worse.
Yeah.
But the same thing of like, if it's always been there and like, in the best way, there hasn't been a bad crash that's highlighted the impact of jewellery in a crash. Like, I don't know why now change it. But some of the new tracks this year, like Miami was just about to race this weekend before we record this.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll find out about that later, because of course we don't know. Las Vegas has been added.
Yeah.
Have you seen the track layout for that?
No.
I don't know. We'll see what other people think. It doesn't look very inventive.
It's a night race, isn't it?
Yeah.
Night race.
Well, yeah, 'cause it's so hot, isn't it? But
okay.
it just looks like straight down the strip, turn right, turn left, do a big loop back round.
Really?
It's quite a large track. Like, it goes over a lot of the city, but it doesn't look that technical, or it just looks like big long straights and a big long curve.
Brilliant.
Which today for more American ownership.
So how many races in America?
3 this year.
And then the normal one?
Yeah, the normal one, wherever that is, which I can't remember the name of the place.
Yeah.
The big American one. Miami and then Las Vegas.
Okay.
Or is it Las Vegas this year or is it Las Vegas next year?
Next year. 2023, I think.
Yeah. So, yeah, quite a bit of a change. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens in the sport. But fun one. Yeah, so what else is happening? We're saying we may do some events this summer at Utopia, which we'll let you know about. We're hopefully going to be doing this more regularly, but maybe on Zoom format. It's a bit peak to get you to travel every time. So, unless we get the ball tap going, then we'll get Joe on that, get some videos. And then we'll have the YouTube plan for our road trip this summer.
Yeah.
Record that. And then maybe another one. Because road trips are fun.
Yeah, totally.
So, we'll see. And we'll see what else I drive for the summer road trip.
Well, thank you to you if you've made it this far to the end of the podcast. You're in some of the elite few, and we very much appreciate it. All the things that we just ask is now Spotify, I think, Apple Music, YouTube, all of those now have rating systems. So if you could give us some stars, that would be amazing. Helps the podcast and helps us get more listeners. Also, as the podcast is now grown and we're on season 2, we actually have some advertising space, not just for anyone, for things that are quite interesting, and Land Rover, car, classic car, businesses, anything like that. So if you've got a YouTube, a blog, small business, or anything that you just want to advertise to people that are enthusiastic about cars, drop me a message and we can get something sorted and we can get you on and be one of our sponsors. Next week, we've got Terry Hayward from Hayward Revive, which is going to be a very cool one, and they make amazing things. And that will hopefully be going live on Monday. This one is on a Friday, but We're just trying to catch up with what's been going on in the workshop and been very busy. But yeah, trying to make these more regular for you. And yeah, hope you enjoyed them. As always, make sure you check out our new website, www.utopiarestorations.co.uk, our Instagram at utopia_restorations, and of course our YouTube as well, which is growing, and we're doing much more content on that and trying to keep you guys updated and interested. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for making it to the end. And I'll see you next week. Ciao.